Hey, what's going on, everybody? Trying to get this installed. It's the Volkswagen LED logo. Also compatible with the ACC, as you can see right there. I noticed that there's no videos on how to do it for the 2021 Volkswagen Jetta GLI or Volkswagen Jetta in general, since I don't really see a difference in how this would work. So I figured I'd show you what I've done so far, skipping out all the bull crap of like taking out the air intake and the battery. As you can see, that's all simple. Find a different YouTube video for that. But basically what I did so far is I started with this part, ran it through here. As you can see, there's the box. And I'm gonna put the box on the inside, and there's kind of like a wall right here that I can take this later and like 3D or 3M tape it to that box so it'll stay in place in the grill. I originally didn't want to put it through the grill there. I wanted to put it on this, but it would have been a wave of pain, way too much of a pain. So I just decided to put it here, and I'm gonna tuck it a little bit later and figure that out. But basically you can see my path. I came from here, and then I ran it all the way through, and then popped it up through here. Because as you can see, there's like these little holes that you can just pop it through there, and it'll come out the other side. You just gotta kind of fish it around. So I took it, fished it around. Yeah. There you go, there's a little wire, fishing it around. I'm gonna come up here and have it secure somehow, maybe zip tie later, under this part of the frame. And then as you can see, I did this wire connector because honestly, I've always used this one. It's just so much easier. I know you could probably just use a sleeve or whatever, that kind of connector that's just straightforward, but I don't really care about aesthetics. I care about it actually working. So I just know that I'm good with the twisties, the twist caps. So I just use that one. And then what I'm gonna do later is I'm just gonna tuck it under there like that, and it'll secure. As you can see, I had two possible places to ground it. I decided to choose this one right here, just because it's easier to get to. So in case I mess up the crimping or something, this goes bad, I can easily replace it, as opposed to putting it in between this bolt right here, which would also be grounded. And it'd probably be more aesthetically pleasing, but again, I care about trying to get to things faster in the future. So after that, I ran the red wire. As you can see, I connected it, so I had to extend the red wire. I ran it through here. I took the fuse box off, but not completely, just enough so I can see what I was doing. Wiring it through under, and then under the battery tray, as you can see right there, and then bringing it up, and then anything that I can have on the car to secure it, I will use. So I used it right there. I used that little clip right there. And then for the fun part, there's this little firewall. Somebody tried to do a video on it before. Honestly, I'm not going to try to like go back there with my finger and try to show you what I'm talking about. Like, it's just a little nipple, basically, like a little stem you can cut off between that and the firewall, and you'll be able to feed your cable through. I might actually be able to show you better on the other side. It's basically right there. You can see I cut a little bit too much, which is okay for now, because basically what I'm gonna do later is I'm gonna put a bunch of electrical tape around here. I'm gonna build it up so I can just stick it through, and it'll close up that gap. But basically you can see the gap right there. You can press your finger that way or pop it out this way. I popped it out towards me to cut, but then again, I also didn't get the nipple part and get a smaller hole. So, I mean, it's easier this way, but also it's not professional. All right, anyway, I ran that wire through all the way through here, and the wire was naturally leading behind the circuit box, or the fuse box right here. So I just decided to let it, and then pulled it through. As you can see, the wire's in here. Now what I'm gonna eventually do is I'm gonna do the add a circuit. All right, so this is the add a fuse I was talking about. You can literally just Google add a fuse and you'll find this little guy. And then basically how this works is you'll find a fuse that you want to replace. We're gonna go and replace that one, that 20 right there, that 20 amp. And then we're gonna replace it by putting it like so. And then there are YouTube videos on how this works, but basically this fuse equates to this wire, and this bottom fuse is for what you're replacing this whole thing with. So this has to be lower or equal to, I believe, the value on the bottom. But again, I'm just doing 20, and then I know it's a 10 amp that I need. So that's what it's gonna do. It's gonna plug in right there, replacing that 20. And I'm obviously gonna connect my remaining wire to that, clamp it down, and then we'll be good. Add everything back in, the battery, the air intake, and then I'll show you the after product. All right, skipping all the not pretty stuff. I have it in there now, the added circuit. And just to show you what I did, again, I cramped that down, of course, but I always reinforce with electrical tape for anything that I do. Now I just tuck that in there nicely, and it looks pretty professional for the most part. I'm not a professional though, so whatever. All right, and then that's all the way back there, as we can see. Coming around, I've already done a check to see if this setup works with the light, and it does. One thing I want to show you before I put this new emblem on is that the old, or the stock logo, I should say, comes with this tip right here. Now, that's the very top that connects into right here. However, the new one that you get from wherever you get it, they're all basically the same from my understanding, does not have this. And the reason being is because, or sorry, wrong side. It doesn't have that prong coming out on the top here. And the reason being is because you want to actually feed the wire through there. That way the wire does not impede the ACC sensor. And it seriously just looks like that. Just wiggle it on through, and now it's in there. Now the way this emblem works is that, again, it's not quite like the factory. It has these hooks on the bottom. These hooks on the bottom just have to go in the bottom slots like so. Then you just put everything into place, and you got to kind of mess with it a little bit, maybe press these clips down to get it in there, and then it'll just go on. I'm not really going to show that part because I want two hands to do this, make sure I don't crack any parts or anything, and then I'll fast forward to the end when I put everything back in the car and all that stuff. Now, of course, anytime you work with the front for some reason, or I don't know, if you just disconnect a battery, you're always gonna have all these errors. All you have to do is just drive around the block one time, and then they'll all work themselves out. The same thing happened on my wife's Golf R. When I installed the same emblem, I thought it was because I messed with the ACC sensor, because I moved it just slightly to the right or left, but it reset itself, and then everything was good. So don't freak out whenever you see these errors. They'll go away on their own.